I really am going someplace tomorrow on the airplane, or if it's all become an illusion. I know I have a daughter, because I talked to her on the phone. But I just want to say in all sincerity that I really love it here. And I say that every place we go. And I don't say it to be polite, because I do find such goodness everywhere we go and such wonderful people. But there's something about this city. It's the vibrational frequency. And I was thinking a lot about it this morning after sadhana. And when I asked some of you last night why the word God isn't really that present in Sweden, and people explain because of the church and the separation of church and state and everything. But then I was with Viveka today, and we were walking in the old section, and I said, maybe it's a good idea that God, that name of God isn't so prevalent, because oftentimes when you get heavy into God, you get heavy into guilt, because it's so prevalent in the church, good, bad, right, wrong, because of what happened throughout the 2,000 years after Jesus was born. And this is basically, I have found, in my observation of what happens, there was Guru Nanak, there was Jesus Christ, there was Muhammad, there were many prophets that came to this earth to bring us the news, you might say, of liberation or of the potential to be enlightened while in the physical form. And they were mystics. Like I read yesterday, Francis of Assisi, they thought he was a fool. When Guru Nanak was a young boy, they could not get him to work in a right way. For instance, they had him herd the sheep, and he would always say, we're all one. And so he would divide all the fences and let all the sheep of everybody's just come together and walk together in peace. Well, the farmers didn't like that. Then they said, we'll try him as a merchant. We'll give him the grain and have him go to the town to sell the harvest. So he did it quite nicely. But on the way home, he had all the money and he fed all the poor and gave most of the earnings away, because we're all one. So they realized that he wasn't going to work as an ordinary merchant or farmer. And I do believe that when mystics came, prophets came, enlightened beings came, they were so misunderstood. Same as Yogi Bhajan, he was so misunderstood because they're so different than regular people. They think differently, they act differently, they speak differently, they live differently. But at the same time, they knew there was something profound about them. But then you try to take that profoundness, you try to take that mysticism, you try to take enlightenment and bottle it or put it in a scripture. But it wasn't written. The Bible wasn't written by Jesus. And the same way it seems with all the prophets. Because ordinary minds can't understand the mystic, the enlightened one. And so as a result, we have lots of scriptures, and we have lots of big, multiple organizations, such as the Catholic Church, which is the biggest business, I believe, in the world. But what got lost in the translation of trying to bring it back in an organized fashion, lots of greed and lots of power came, and lots of right and wrong, and we're the best in every single faith. And that's what we have today. We have basically in the world so much division. And it's mostly from religion. Most wars in the history of humanity have been fought in the name of God. My God, not your God, my God is better than your God. So that Sweden is not too consumed by that word God could be very, very good. Because you're of a different nature. And I think that's what I feel here. I feel the energy much lighter, much brighter, and actually much happier. And I know you have depression, you have dark, you have alcoholism, you have all of that. Like every country, and maybe you have it more. But there's something in the spirit that's more vibrant here. Does that make sense? And maybe it's because you haven't had so much war on this land also. Same kind of as Switzerland. However, Switzerland is very different though. Switzerland is based very much on monetary value. Maybe here, maybe I'm just ignorant, I don't know. But I can only go with first impressions. And that I like it here. And there's some countries I like it, but I'm just fine to leave it. But I told Viveka and her husband that we'll definitely come back. First of all, the way you do the yoga is so magnificent. I could feel the elements of Vikings in you. No, really and truly. When you travel as much as we do to so many different countries, from Russia to Japan to South Africa, everything attracts in a karmic reincarnation a different kind of person. And there's a strength here. But it's not a brute strength. It's more of a divine strength. So you're very, very fortunate to be here.